Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, we're jumping straight into a stack of sources you've sent over today. And they all seem to point to this really powerful idea, how your health and your wealth.
Whoa.
Well, they aren't just linked. They're like completely intertwined if you want to live well and, crucially, live longer.
That's exactly it. That's the core concept here. The sources actually call it age-proofing your life.
Age-proofing, okay.
Yeah, and it's about more than just, tacking on extra years. It's making sure those extra decades are vibrant, they're secure, really fulfilling.
So tending to body and bank account together.
Precisely. Actively tending to both.
And what jumps out immediately from your sources is this kind of modern reality we're in. We are living longer, much longer than previous generations.
It's incredible, really.
Yeah, but it throws up a new challenge, right? To actually enjoy those extra years, you need, well, more money saved up.
Definitely.
And you need better health so you can actually get out and, do things with that time and money.
Exactly. And the sources point out for a lot of people facing up to this long-term planning for both health and finances, it feels, really daunting.
Yeah, I can see that.
They even use this phrase, like facing large-toothed forest roaming beasts.
Okay, that's vivid.
It is. It sounds intimidating, so the instinct quite often is just avoidance. Put your head in the sand.
And that avoidance, that timidity, it shows up in the data your sources mention. A pretty big number. 90% of people apparently don't spend time really thinking or even talking about their financial longevity.
90%. It's huge. And that's a major barrier to this whole age-proofing idea.
Right.
So I guess our mission for this deep dive, using the sources you've shared, is to kind of wrestle with that complexity beast.
Okay.
Pull out the really key insights about this health-wealth connection and give you some practical ways to start age-proofing your own life. Make it feel less like a scary monster and hopefully more like an exciting path forward.
Okay, let's unpack that. The central theme, the real sort of DNA of age-proofing in these sources, is just how inseparable health and wealth are.
Absolutely.
Not just running side by side, but they actually describe them as being like strands of DNA all twisted together.
That's the image they use. You really can't optimize one without thinking about the other if you want that truly age-proof future.
And what's interesting is how modern life makes this even more true. Medical advances.
Yeah.
They mean we're not just living longer, but we're managing chronic conditions that, maybe would have been fatal not that long ago.
Right. Things like diabetes, certain heart conditions. People manage them for decades now.
So medicine is helping us live younger, longer. That's a great phrase from the sources. They use this analogy about cars.
Oh, yeah. The car analogy.
Used to be maybe 60,000 miles, you were done. Now 200,000 is pretty standard.
Exactly. Our bodies, and importantly, our bank accounts, need to be ready for that kind of extended mileage.
And that means dealing with health and wealth isn't just crisis management. Like, oh no, I got sick, or oh no, my credit card's maxed out.
No, the sources really stress these are everyday things. They impact your happiness, your quality of life right now.
Okay.
Taking steps now makes you less likely to get those chronic conditions down the line, saves you potentially a lot on healthcare costs, and just fundamentally improves your ability to live those extra years with fewer disabilities, more energy.
So how do we actually do it, this age-proofing? The sources seem to break it down into some key areas, right? Like pillars.
Yeah, interconnected pillars. Things like assess where you are right now. Figure out how to make changing behaviors easier using the science behind it.
Okay.
Definitely tackle stress. That's a big one. Build a strong support team around you. Learn to budget both your finances and, interestingly, your calories.
Okay. Budgeting calories.
Yeah. Learn from mistakes. And importantly, design your environment home. Work so the healthy and wealthy choices become the easy ones, almost automatic.
Right. Which brings us to that crucial first step you mentioned. Assessment. Taking your pulse.
Absolutely vital. And it's not about judging yourself. It's just getting an honest baseline.
Like a physical for your body and, I guess, a financial checkup for your money.
Exactly that. You've got to know your starting point to figure out the route. And the sources are really clear. Numbers matter in both health and finance.
Okay, so for the health snapshot, they suggest starting simple with self-tests.
Yeah, really accessible things. They mention a basic fitness test. You could use push-ups for endurance or time yourself on a 1-mile walk and track your heart rate to see progress.
Right.
Even something like grip strength, you can measure it with simple tools like a rice bucket exercise or a hand grip meter. It sounds odd, but it's apparently a decent proxy for overall strength and vitality as you get older.
Huh. Grip strength? Okay.
But maybe the single most powerful number the sources highlight is blood pressure.
Right. I've heard that's important.
Yeah, they call it a top 3 predictor of chronic disease risk. And it's so easy to measure regularly now. Home machines, pharmacies, even gyms often have them.
Okay.
Just need to avoid exercise or caffeine right before. The goal they mention is ideally below a 120/80, maybe even aiming for 115/75.
And that changes quickly.
That's the motivational part. Unlike, say, weight sometimes, blood pressure can respond relatively fast to changes in diet and activity, so you get that positive feedback.
That makes sense. And beyond self-tests, the regular professional checkups are key.
Non-negotiable, according to these sources. Seeing your primary care provider, your PCP, yearly after 18, and really talking to them about your family history, your specific risks.
Okay.
Don't skip the dentist. Yearly exam and cleaning. They mention a surprising link between gum disease, periodontal disease, and inflammation throughout the body.
Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah. Plus eye exams every couple of years, hearing tests yearly after 65, and even a mental health screening yearly after age 20. They also list specific exams like pelvic and rectal exams starting around 50.
Okay. Comprehensive. Now, switching to the financial snapshot. Similar idea. Analyzing data.
Exactly. It's not just about the raw numbers, but spotting the trends. What are these numbers telling you about the actions you need to take?
And it could feel uncomfortable, maybe like getting your blood pressure taken if you haven't done it before.
Absolutely, but it's just as necessary. You have to look.
So what are the core areas for financial assessment in these sources?
First up, the absolute basics. Income versus expenses. What's coming in, what's going out, and what's left over. That simple math.
They mention that 75K figure sometimes.
Yeah, for happiness, but they rightly point out that's super relative. Depends totally on where you live, your circumstances.
Right.
Then you need a close look at expenses annually. Everything. Household bills, loans, the lot.
And they're tough on debt.
Very tough. Especially high-interest debt, like credit cards. They call it the junk food of your financial picture.
Huh. I like that.
Yeah.
Junk food. Adds no value, actively harms you.
Pretty much. Which is why tracking everything, having a budget, becomes absolutely essential. You need to see the inflow and outflow clearly.
Got it. And calculating net worth. Assets minus debts.
Yep, that's your overall financial position. And crucially, assessing your emergency savings every single month.
Why monthly?
Because life happens. Unexpected stuff, car repairs, maybe a job loss. That fund is your buffer. It stops you reaching for the credit card.
That elastic waistband they mentioned.
Exactly. Stops you falling into that potential debt spiral.
And what about retirement income? The sources address needing to replace 100%.
Yeah, they make a good point. Usually you don't need to replace 100% of your pre-retirement gross income.
Ah, okay. Because you weren't spending it all anyway.
Right. Some went to taxes. Hopefully a decent chunk was already being saved or invested. You were living on less than your gross pay already, so the target replacement rate is usually lower.
That's helpful. And finally, credit reports and scores.
Essential. Check your credit report yearly, free from annualcreditreport.com. Look for errors. Understand your history.
And the score.
Check your credit score monthly. Lots of free services like Credit Karma do this now. It lets you track your progress and see how your actions are impacting things.
Okay, so assessment done. Baseline established. But here's the tricky part, right? Knowing what to do isn't always enough. It's the how.
Yeah.
How do you actually make changes stick?
This is where the sources get really practical. They emphasize it's not just about willpower, gritting your teeth. It's smarter than that. It's about re-engineering your daily actions.
Okay, how does that work?
They talk about the science of habits. Your brain learns through repetition, doing things over and over, not just deciding once.
So replace a bad habit with a good one.
Exactly. Instead of, say, smoking after dinner, you take a walk. You actively replace the routine. And they also mention that the old 3 weeks to form a habit idea is probably longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, newer data suggests it can take much longer for changes to feel truly automatic. Maybe even up to a year for some things, like your body's hormone system's fully adapting if you, say, lose weight around your middle.
A year?
The key takeaway, though, is designing your environment. Make the good habits easy, the bad ones hard. That's way more effective than just relying on sheer discipline.
Right. Setting yourself up for success. What about motivation?
Good question. They distinguish between extrinsic, outside pressures or rewards, and intrinsic motivation, doing it because it feels right, or you genuinely feel the benefits, like less stress when you're debt-free.
Which one works better?
Well, extrinsic can get you started, definitely. But for the long haul, intrinsic motivation is more powerful, more sustainable. The good news is sometimes that external push can actually evolve into genuine internal drive over time.
Okay, that makes sense. So you understand change, you've got motivation. Next is setting priorities. Because you can't do everything at once.
Exactly. The sources acknowledge we live in a world with, as they put it, a bazillion priorities. Not just basic survival anymore. So you have to choose what matters most right now.
Let's start with the financial priorities the sources lay out.
Okay. Foundational priority. Earning a decent living. Sounds obvious, but it ties straight back to that income minus expenses math. Your job, your career. It's a huge investment. Salary growth has this exponential effect on your ability to save later.
So maybe asking for a raise is part of age-proofing.
It absolutely could be, if you've earned it and the situation is right. As they say, if you don't ask.
The answer is always no.
Right.
What's next after earning?
Saving. And they have this really practical tiered system. Levels. Level 1. Get a starter emergency fund, maybe $2,000. Automate savings if you can, maybe 15% of your paycheck towards it.
Got it. Level 2.
Start hitting those retirement plans, especially if your employer offers a match that's free money. You absolutely take that. An IRA if no work plan.
Okay, free money is good.
Always.
Wow.
Level 3. Keep saving, but now prioritize retirement over general savings, maybe a 4-to-1 ratio. Keep going until your main emergency fund is full, maybe 3-6 months of expenses.
Then what?
Then pour everything extra into retirement accounts or other investments. And again, automation is your friend here. Makes it happen without thinking.
And there are more levels.
Yeah. Level 6 is basically once you've maxed out all your tax-advantaged retirement options, then you start putting money into a regular taxable brokerage account.
Okay, that's a clear roadmap. And this ties into the next priority.
Spending less than you make. Priority number 3. They bring back that elastic waistband analogy for credit cards.
Right. Feels okay until suddenly it pops dead.
Exactly. You need that budget. Track the inflow, track the outflow. They suggest practical things like a bill audit, actually call your providers, negotiate rates.
Does it really work?
Sometimes it does. Doesn't hurt to ask. But for big savings, you often have to look at the big categories, housing, transport, apply that 80-20 rule. Where's the bulk of the money going?
Makes sense. Tough choices sometimes.
Can be. They also advocate for more conscious spending. Pause before you buy. Ask yourself how you'll really feel afterwards.
And goal setting. Is that a priority?
Yes. They mention super savers tend to set big goals. And crucially, people are 42% more likely to achieve goals if they write them down.
42%.
Yeah.
Just by writing it down.
That's what the source indicates, referencing studies like that famous Harvard one where graduates with written goals ended up earning significantly more years later.
Wow. Okay. And the last financial priority.
Protection. Having adequate insurance, they cite some sobering stats about medical bills being a huge cause of financial hardship, even bankruptcy, even for people with insurance.
Right. So insurance isn't just nice to have, it's fundamental protection.
Absolutely fundamental financial safety net.
Okay. Let's switch to health priorities. The sources acknowledge it's confusing out there. Lots of advice.
Totally. My sister-in-law swears by paleo. Kickboxing helped my friend lose 12 pounds. It's overwhelming.
So the key is?
Finding what works for you. Your body, your lifestyle, your preferences.
Let's talk diet first. They call it health inflow.
Yeah, kind of a neat way to think about it. The main idea is find food you actually enjoy eating that also loves your body back.
Loves you back. Okay, how do you know?
They contrast ethnic oil foods, think ventures, simple sugars, saturated fats, trans fats, refined carbs, and specifically egg yolks with LUVU back foods.
Snake oil versus LUVU. Got it. AUVU is?
Lean protein, unsaturated fats, the good fats, vegetables, and unrefined carbs like whole grains.
Okay, why egg yolks specifically in the snake oil category? I thought they were okay now.
It's interesting. The sources flag them not just for cholesterol anymore, but because they contain things like lecithin and choline. Your gut bacteria can turn those into something called TMAO.
TMAO.
Yeah, trimethylamine and oxide. And higher levels are linked to inflammation, problems fighting cancer cells, and plaque buildup in arteries. So the advice here is caution, maybe limit them.
Huh. Okay, good to know. And the strategy isn't just cutting things out.
No, it's about smart substitution. Swap the snake oil for the LUVU. They really highlight healthy fats, olive oil, nuts, avocados.
Omega-3s too.
Definitely. They go into specifics. DHA. Mainly from fatty fish like salmon or trout. Aim for maybe 900 milligrams a day or like 4 servings of fish a week. And ALA from things like flaxseed, walnuts, chia seeds, maybe 6 walnuts a day hits that target. Crucial for brain, eyes, joints, heart.
Okay. Lots of good stuff there. Any tips for actually making it happen, like at the grocery store?
Yeah, practical stuff. Shop the perimeter. That's where the first stuff usually is. Read labels. Don't shop hungry.
Guilty.
We all are. Buy produce first. Plan your meals ahead. Maybe even try online shopping to avoid those impulse buys at the checkout.
Good idea.
And use herbs and spices. They call it the chef's secret weapon to make healthy food taste fantastic.
Nice. Okay, what about exercise? Health outflow.
Right. They recommend a smart progression, especially to avoid getting injured.
To start slow.
Start with consistency. Aim for 10,000 steps a day. Make that a solid habit first.
Okay, 10,000 steps. Then
Add resistance exercises, strength training. Doesn't have to be hours, maybe twice a week, 15, 20 minutes. Builds muscle, boosts your metabolism so you burn more calories even resting, prevents injuries.
right, strength is key.
And finally, add cardio, heart pumping activity. 3 times a week, about 21 minutes each time, aiming for roughly 80% of your max heart rate.
Why that order? Steps, then strength, then cardio.
Helps build a foundation. You get used to moving, then build strength to support your joints and body, then you push the cardiovascular system harder, less risk of injury that way.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, this leads us to a major intersection point you mentioned earlier. Stress.
Yeah, the sources call stress the #1 driver of poor health and poor wealth. It's where everything collides.
It's not just mental, right? It's physical.
Totally physical. That ancient fight or flight or freeze response, useful if you're facing a lion for 5 minutes.
Right.
But the problem today is chronic stress. Those systems stay switched on, constantly elevated. And that's incredibly damaging over time. Heart, mood, digestion, sleep, immune system.
So stress is like a smoke alarm that won't shut off.
Great analogy. It just keeps blaring, draining your energy, your resources. The key message from the sources is you have to address the source of the stressor if it's ongoing. You can't just ignore the alarm.
So how do you manage it? What do the sources suggest?
It starts with awareness. What are your actual triggers? Then preparation. Can you anticipate demands or challenges?
Okay.
And then finding healthy actions that work for you. Could be spiritual practices, could be physical, deep breathing, meditation, exercise, nature time, whatever resonates.
But they make a distinction between healthy and unhealthy coping.
Yes. Healthy methods like a massage or a bath make you feel better temporarily, which is good, but they don't fix the underlying source of the stress if it's, say, ongoing financial pressure.
Right. And unhealthy methods.
Things like overeating, drinking too much, overspending, they just compound the problem in the long run.
Okay. And they dive into financial stress specifically?
They do. Beyond that credit card elastic waistband, they mention big triggers like unemployment, wages not keeping up, which was a concern when some sources were written, and that massive student loan debt burden, over $1.3 trillion.
Wow.
A 2015 report they cited said 72% of Americans were stressed about money then. 72%.
That's huge. And it spills over into relationships.
Absolutely. They point to studies showing money fights are a major source of conflict, even a predictor of divorce, a huge stress amplifier.
And job stress.
Yeah.
Also a big factor.
Yes. Unstable work, fear of layoffs, these are major stressors with direct health impacts. Studies showed people worried about layoffs paid less attention to safety, got injured more, and were less likely to use wellness programs.
Even when the economy seemed better.
That fear lingered, according to the sources.
So what can you do about job or income stress?
Well, they suggest being proactive. Assess your options outside your current company, update your resume, network, don't wait for a crisis. They also mentioned the gig economy. About a third of the workforce involved. It has challenges like fluctuating income, needing careful budgeting,
Right.
but it can also offer more control, potentially more income, which might reduce certain kinds of stress for some people.
Okay. This all sounds like a lot to handle alone. Can you age-proof by yourself?
The sources argue pretty strongly against that, trying to tackle health and finances completely solo. Big mistake, they say.
So building a team is crucial.
Essential. Family, advisors, friends, a support network. And interestingly, they suggest that talking about your progress, socializing it, actually helps you stick with it and can inspire others too.
Okay, but you're still in charge.
Absolutely. You are the leader, the CEO of your body and your bank account, as they put it. But even a CEO needs good advisors and a team they trust. You have to be willing to listen to their advice, even if it's tough.
They mention a specific role. An accountability buddy.
Yes, this is key. Someone who's your equal, Not necessarily your boss or your subordinate. Someone who pushes you a bit, helps you clarify things, and just listens without judging.
Not just a cheerleader.
Exactly. They help you stay honest with yourself about your goals and progress. And they make an interesting point. This often works best if it's not your best friend or your spouse.
Oh, why not?
Because best friends or spouses might be too kind, too emotionally invested. They might let you off the hook too easily. You need someone a bit more objective. This role was apparently vital in programs like Real Age.
Okay. And communication within the team is important.
Critical. They use this simple idea. The two most important body parts are the mouth and the ears. Talk and listen in equal measure.
Right.
Be clear about what help you need. Be open to hearing what they have to say. And maybe even connect different team members so ideas can flow.
So who should be on this team? Let's start with the financial side.
Okay. Sources suggest considering a financial advisor or wealth manager. They bring expertise, but also that external accountability we talked about.
But it can be confusing finding one, right? Lots of different titles.
It can be. They advise asking for recommendations, really focusing on finding someone you feel comfortable being totally open and honest with about your money. That's huge.
And someone will tell you if you're messing up.
Yes.
Oh.
Someone willing to say no or point out a potential mistake, not just a yes person. They also highlight the difference between the fiduciary standard.
Okay, what's that?
That legally requires the advisor to put your interests first. It applies to retirement advice. It's a higher standard than the suitability standard, which applies to other accounts and offers less protection. Good to know the difference.
Definitely. Anyone else for the financial team?
A CPA, certified public accountant, they're licensed, crucial for taxes, especially as things get more complex. Check their credentials, make sure they ask for detailed documents, understand their fees up front. Be wary of anyone charging a percentage of your refund.
Good tips. Okay, shifting to the medical team. Who's the MVP there?
Your primary care provider, the PCP. They're the gateway, your first line of defense and prevention. They can really influence your long-term health path.
So choosing one carefully matters.
Immensely. Ask about their approach to prevention, insurance, how you access records, check credentials, obviously, but also, does their personality fit with yours? You need to feel comfortable.
Right. Who else are the starters on the medical team?
An obgyn for women, yearly. A urologist for men over 50, yearly for prostate checks. Your dentist, yearly again, that inflammation link, eye doctor yearly. And a mental health professional, they stress that yearly screening after 20 because mental health is so tied to physical health.
Okay. Any other valuable players?
Yeah. They mention physical therapists or trainers think preventive visit, helping you avoid injury. Sometimes insurance or employers help cover that. Dietitians or nutritionists for expert food guidance. Your pharmacist who knows your meds. And an attorney for the vital stuff like wills, estate planning, advance directives.
So the bottom line is,
you're the CEO. You need to be proactive. Ask questions, check references, choose your team members wisely. It's your health, your finances.
speaking of managing things, how much does our actual environment, home, work shape our choices?
Massively, according to these sources. Your surroundings constantly nudge you towards certain health and wealth decisions. So the idea is to actively design them to support your age-proofing goals.
Okay, let's start with the home base. It should be a sanctuary.
Ideally, yes. A place for peace. But that's really hard if it's cluttered. Physical clutter often leads to mental clutter, disturbance.
So decluttering helps your mindset.
Directly. Simplifying your space, whether room by room or by category, helps your frame of mind. They even mention the simple habit of making your bed daily having surprisingly positive psychological ripple effects.
Interesting. And the bedroom gets special attention.
Yes, because of sleep. They call sleep the fifth side of the health pentagon. Often overlooked, but crucial.
Why so?
It's when your brain clears out waste products, strengthens connections. It's vital for energy, mood, focus. Poor sleep is strongly linked to obesity, depression, weaker immune system. Lots of problems.
So how do you improve sleep? Tactics.
Aim for 7-9 hours. Prepare for sleep. Dim lights, cool room around 67 Fahrenheit seems optimal for many. Avoid screens, work, heavy food, alcohol right before bed.
What about things like sleep apnea?
Very important they mention this. That's when you stop breathing momentarily during sleep. It's serious, linked to high blood pressure, even brain issues.
Yeah.
If you or your partner suspect it, absolutely see a doctor. There are tests and effective treatments. For general sleep issues, they mention online programs or sleep specialists, too.
Okay. And the kitchen pantry, the grand central terminal.
Yeah. That's where health is often won or lost daily. Food choices matter hugely. They bring back that idea. Choose food that loves you back. Promotes health, doesn't hinder it.
And use those herbs and spices.
Chef's secret weapon. Make healthy food delicious.
What about financial organization at home?
Critical. Create a dedicated paper space. Locked files, ideally, for all that important financial, estate, tax, medical directive paperwork.
Physical and digital.
They recommend parallel systems, physical files, and matching digital folders online or on your computer. Same structure. Review it all once a year. It provides huge peace of mind and makes things easy to find when you need them.
Okay. Now, the workplace environment. Companies are getting more involved.
Increasingly, yes. They see the link. Healthy employees are more productive, absent less, cost less in healthcare.
Makes sense for them.
They also realize if employees aren't financially prepared for retirement, they might work longer, leading to an older, potentially more expensive workforce and job satisfaction itself. Huge health benefits if you find passion in your work, though changing jobs is often a longer process.
So companies might change the environment, like removing soda machines.
Exactly. Making healthy choices easier, more automatic. But even if your company doesn't have great programs or the culture isn't ideal,
You can still take charge.
yes. Be your own chief wellness officer. Develop your own plan, your own habits, regardless of the office environment.
What kind of tactical changes can you make it work?
Get vertical. Standing desks are great, but even just standing up and moving often helps. Take your vacations, actually use the time off. Avoid keeping unhealthy snacks or drinks easily accessible at your desk. Pack your lunch, take short breaks, drink water consistently. Simple things add up.
And when starting a new job, key financial and health points.
Crucial transition points. First, get transition health insurance, COBRA from your old job or the public exchange. Don't risk a gap and potential medical bankruptcy.
Right. Number 2.
Choose your new health plan carefully. High deductible or low, depends on your health needs. Are your doctors in network? Does the employer offer wellness incentives?
Good questions. 3.
Maximize tax-advantaged accounts if they offer them. HSAs, health savings accounts, FSAs, flexible spending accounts. These save you real money on healthcare costs.
Okay. And finally,
Take advantage of other company perks. Gym memberships, training funds, transportation savings. Use what's available.
okay, now let's tackle the big one. The elephant in the room, the sources mention. Fear of outliving your money.
Yeah, it's a huge fear. Scares people more than death itself, apparently. And with potentially 10, 20, even more extra years, planning is absolutely vital.
So if you feel like you're behind on retirement savings, what can you do? Strategies.
The sources offer a few. First, if you're 50 or older, use catch-up contributions. Tax rules let you save extra amounts in 401ks, IRAs, even HSAs.
Okay. Catch up. What else?
A significant downshift in your cost of living. Really trim expenses, focusing on the big ones. Housing, transportation, maybe education costs, if applicable.
Healthcare?
Major changes, potentially.
Could be. Another strategy is planning to work longer if possible and desired.
How does that help?
Several ways. Delays when you start drawing down savings and Social Security. Gives investments more time for compounding growth. Reduces the number of years your savings need to last. Could be staying put, or maybe gig work, consulting. Right. What about your home as an asset?
They view it mainly as a supplemental savings account, not a get-rich-quick scheme. Paying off the mortgage before retiring is a huge relief, lowers pressure massively.
And options later. Sell. Stay.
Options include keep living there, maybe modify it later. Sell and downsize frees up cash, lowers costs, but easier done when younger. Or, potentially, a reverse mortgage to tap equity and age in place.
What about using home equity before retirement? Like ADL-OCs?
It carries risks, especially if home values fall. But the sources say it can make sense for specific needs, maybe funding college or consolidating high-interest credit card debt. Home equity loans usually have lower rates than other loans, and interest might be deductible.
But the caution is,
Don't use equity for wants, vacations, new cars. Use it for needs or maybe investments that could generate future income. Be very careful.
makes sense. And housing choices specifically for aging.
Yeah.
Staying put versus moving.
Right. Aging in place is staying home, maybe needing modifications like ramps or accessible bathrooms down the road. The alternative they discuss is continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs.
What are those exactly?
Communities offering a spectrum of care, independent living, then assisted living, then skilled nursing, usually all on one campus. Different contracts have different payment structures and guarantees.
Sounds complex.
It is. The sources stress asking tough questions. How have fees increased? What about memory care? What happens if you run out of money? And definitely get independent legal and financial advice before signing anything. Regulation varies a lot state by state.
Okay, good advice. They also touch on setbacks, even bankruptcy.
Briefly, but importantly. They note that medical expenses are tragically the #1 cause. Mention Chapter 7 versus Chapter 13 bankruptcy types, recommend nonprofit credit counseling, like through nfcc.org, and advise checking your credit report carefully after discharge, keeping good records. It just highlights, again, the need for that insurance protection layer.
Right, so beyond just surviving these extra decades, how do we ensure we're actually thriving? The sources bring in specific health areas for active living.
Yeah, weaving it all together. Brain health, for instance. They connect it back to diet again, avoiding those egg yolks due to the TMAO inflammation link, and exercise, which can actually enlarge the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain.
Wow. Specific tactics for brain health.
Certain types of brain games, like those in the ASTIF trial, showed reduced dementia risk. Getting enough omega-3s, DHA, AA from fish, walnuts, making sure vitamin D and B vitamin levels are good, and avoiding those TMAO-promoting foods.
Okay, what about bone health? Also crucial for staying active.
Absolutely. Key actions. Enough calcium, vitamin D, and also magnesium. They note magnesium helps calcium absorption and is often low in women with osteoporosis.
And exercise for bones.
Resistance training, walking, vital. And a surprising one, jumping. Even just 10, 20 simple jumps twice a day can apparently help stimulate bone density.
Just jumping. Okay, and finally, mood health.
Foundational. They list typical depression symptoms, physical, emotional, cognitive, behavioral. Emphasize recognizing even subtle signs and seeking professional help, doctor, therapist, psychiatrist.
And being open with your doctor.
Crucial. Tell them about recent life events, financial stresses, job changes, family issues. All these things can significantly impact your mood and your physical health. It all connects back, especially to that stress piece.
So bringing this whole deep dive together, the main takeaway from your sources seems pretty clear.
Yeah, I think so. Age-proofing your life means you have to recognize, really accept, and most importantly, act on this deep, inseparable connection between your health and your wealth.
You can't really separate them.
You really can, not if you want the best outcome. The sources show the power is largely in your hands. It starts with that honest assessment, taking stock, then re-engineering your habits, making good choices easier, setting clear priorities for body and bank account, building that support team, designing your environment to help you.
Right. Home and work.
And planning realistically for the future, including potential setbacks.
Okay. And this leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, building on these sources. A bit provocative, maybe.
Yeah. Are you ready to stop feeling, timid about facing your health and wealth futures?
That forest roaming beast idea.
Exactly. Are you ready to start actively swimming upstream, as they kind of imply, against that instinct to avoid, and instead really start designing the rich, long, thriving life that you truly envision for yourself?
A powerful question to end on.
This has been a deep dive specifically into the sources you provided on age-proofing. We really hope digging into these insights gives you a clearer path and maybe the motivation you need to start building that age-proof future today.